I finally pulled over because I had this overwhelming just anxiety hitting me. I didn't know what was going on. Now my car's acting up. I'm getting immediate answers to prayer. What's happening? So I called my wife in a panic, pulled over to the side of the road in tears, and I said, "What's going on, babe?"
How you doing? It is so good to be here. Prime time Wednesday night. Welcome to Cause TV. We're already in December. And, today is December 3rd, so I wanted to take just a second and recognize this is my mother's birthday. Now, she passed away in 2009, but up there in heaven, happy birthday, Mom. And we are who we are because of our mothers, good or bad. And I had a wonderful mother, little different, danced to a different drummer, but I'll tell you what, I'm grateful for her teaching me how to love and serve others. Today, we're going to talk about growing up in the shadow of somebody else. And behind every good man is a great woman. And my mom played such a special place in my life. So thanks, Mom, and happy birthday. So what is it like to grow up in the spotlight where everyone knows who you are? Kind of like on Cheers. Hey, Norm, everybody knows your name. And yet you're also in the shadow of legendary greats. What's it like? Each one of us is on our unique personal journey, regardless of the family we come from or the circumstances that we find ourselves in. Happiness is an inside job, and we're all striving to be comfortable in our own skins and be the best version of ourselves. Tonight's program is brought to you by StreamYard. Put the power of live streaming to work for your business, your brand, or your cause. Stream live to Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and more. Go to StreamYardCause.com. That's StreamYardCause.com to sign up for your free account and receive a $10 credit. That's StreamYardCause.com. StreamYardCause.com. And tell them Kazi sent you. My guest tonight is a singer and a songwriter with 4 consecutive #1 hits on various country charts. He also runs his own production company called Ntune Productions. He's an entrepreneur and keynote speaker and travels the globe inspiring individuals and businesses to step into their own greatness and inspire others to do the same. He is the host of the Achieving Awesome Now podcast and is the recipient of the 10 Outstanding Young American Award by the United States Junior Chamber of Commerce for his musical achievements and humanitarian efforts. He is married to Sarah and is the proud father of 4 boys and 1 cute dog named Blizzard. Now, he recently released a new music video, and this really touched my heart.
Say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there.
God bless America. You know, post-election, I just needed to hear that song to remind us we're all Americans, red, white, and blue. Friends, help me welcome to the program, Nathan Osmond. Nathan, welcome aboard.
Hello there, Kazi. How are you?
I am great. Thanks for joining us prime time on a Wednesday night. I know you are a busy man.
Oh, man. We're all busy.
We're you know what? We're all busy, but we're 1 week away from a big event that you're co-hosting with John Absey and Casey Scott. And I wanted to, one, promote that event, but then two, learn a little bit more about what it's like growing up Osmond. So let's talk about the event first.
You got it.
Next Thursday night, it's a Night of Hope virtual gala. Thursday, December 10th at 7 p.m. right here on Facebook. You'll watch it on the Life's Worth Living Foundation page. Plus, we're all going to be sharing it. So there's a lot of great different ways to watch it. Just pay attention to social media. We'll be sharing the links. So, Nathan, tell us a little bit more about your experience with the Life's Worth Living Foundation and how you got involved.
You know, it was just this year I got a random phone call, and there's all these sales calls and things that come in, but I just kind of had this inkling like I should pick up. I didn't know why, but you always follow your gut. And so I said, "Hello, this is Nathan." And it was a man named John Gossett. And he was going out on a whim. He got my number from someone, and he said, "Nathan Osmond's not going to pick up." I picked up, and we started chatting. He told me all about his foundation, Life's Worth Living Foundation. And the first person that came to my mind was my cousin Michael, who we lost to suicide. You see, this is a very serious topic, and it's something that we don't talk about much. But I had a lot of experience with having lost a family member, a cousin to it. And so we just started chatting it up. And I had just recorded a song in Nashville with the beautiful Linda Davis, a country, just legend. And she wrote this song with my producer. I recorded it on my new album called Don't Go There. And we started talking. He says, "I would love it if you would come to our event and speak." And so I took him up on it. I went up there and spoke at his event and just got to know him and his sweet wife and saw the good that they're doing, the lives that they're saving. And I said, I've got to get behind this. We got to stop people from going there and help them to see their self-worth. It's so some people say, "I never saw it coming," right? We hear that a lot. A lot of people are good at masking their emotions. And I just want people to know that there is hope, there is power, that there is support, and the resources are there for your taking. Don't take your lives. Take up the resources and pick up the phone, call. And I just want people to know where to go, what to do. If they ever get to that point of no return, there's always a way back if we can get them to them before that point.
It's a very worthy cause, and I'm so glad you picked up the phone and answered that. When you and I and John were at dinner a couple Saturdays ago now, that's his favorite story. I called Nathan Osmond, and he said, "Hello, this is Nathan." He expected to get your agent or something. So we'll keep your cell phone number, unlisted, because we know that
I'll pick up for a lot of reasons.
You do answer
But
it.
it brought us together. Look at this. Now we're talking about this. You're going to be producing this event with John, and I'm so grateful to have Cause on board with this, because we've all had our brush with depressions and with losing our friends or family members. It's a real thing. Even just this month in Japan, more people died from suicide than COVID. It's crazy. So we've got to get noisy.
When COVID started, I said that there would be more deaths of despair than COVID itself. And, regardless of what statistics you want to read, whether it's the 275,000 deaths thus far from COVID-19 or another number, those who died with COVID or because of COVID, we won't get into the politics of that. Yeah. But the deaths of despair are immeasurable.
Absolutely.
And we've got to be there for each other. This social distancing, I'm not saying it's a bunch of hooey, but it's a bunch of hooey. We need to physical distance. I get that, but we've got to reach out to each other and be more connected than ever before, because we need each other.
We absolutely need each other. And that's been the hard part, even myself, Mr. Achieving awesomeness now guy, even I have experienced things this year that I never thought I would experience, such as panic attacks. And I'm like, where's this coming from? It's affected all sorts of us, and every one of us has been affected in one way or another. But I have a lot more empathy for people that go through episodes like that, because it was more kind of like almost like a week period of that. I've had a few little things here and there, but thank heavens I found my safe person, and that's my Uncle Donnie. I had the opportunity to go there.
A little bit more about that, because that came up at dinner. That's something that totally sneaked up on you, and you did not know what was going on. Tell us the story.
I tell you, it was pretty intense. I was actually filming. Well, actually, it started off, I was going to a TV show. I was going up to do this television show, and I called my brother David, who was going to be on the show too. And I said, I don't know what's going on right now. I'm just driving, and I know you're going to be at the studio. I'm pulled over at the side of the road right now because I feel like I'm going to pass out or something. There's something weird going on, and I don't know what it is. I've never ever passed out in my life. Anyways, I just called my wife, just said, pray for me. I'm just feeling weird. And I got to the studio and called my son before I left to go home, because it kicked back in. And I said, pray for me. Something weird's going on. And so anyways, I made it home safe. Then later that week, I was filming for Fluent Worlds. I've been doing a lot of YouTube videos for this company. And right before I start filming, I sat down and I started feeling like, oh my gosh, what's going over me? I felt like I'm going to pass out. I went outside trying to get some water and air, and I didn't know what was happening. And it really scared me. I called my mother. I said, would you come over here? Because if I pass out on camera, I need someone I can trust to just get me to the doctor. And so my wife was busy, and so she came over. She forced me to go see the doctor, and the doctor said, you know what? Your blood pressure's fine. Your sugar levels were fine. There's no way to prove this, but we think with everything that's gone on with this holy craziness of the year, and the company I was speaking for closing overnight, while I was on an airplane, I had to jump off and got my bag off. It was like unannounced. I was 2 months ahead of everybody else with COVID and jobs being lost and everything else. It was really kind of a stressful year. And I think it started catching up. They said, we think your serotonin levels could be low. And so they prescribed me something. I just don't like medication, so I didn't even go pick it up. Well, guess what? I go to my brother David's house, and it starts kicking in again. My mother says, did you get that medication? I said, no. She says, no, I'll drive your kids home. You go right now, and you go get it. Well, I knew something was happening to me, and so I just said a quick prayer. I said, Heavenly Father, I don't know if I'm supposed to be driving right now. Please make it known if I should stop and pull over. Guess what? I was at a stop sign when I said amen. I went to push my gas pedal, and my car froze. It wouldn't even go forward. I put it in reverse. I'm like, what's going on? It wouldn't even go backwards. There was something that came over my car in the moment I said amen. And I was protected, I believe, because, it cost me $1,000 because of my car. I had to drive direct, went into limp mode, and I was able to go about 30 miles an hour tops. I finally pulled over because I had this overwhelming just anxiety hitting me. I didn't know what was going on. Now my car's acting up. I'm getting immediate answers to prayer. What's happening? So I called my wife in a panic, pulled over to the side of the road in tears. And I said, what's going on, babe? She said, you go to the car lot, or, where they fix our car, and I'll go get your medication. I'll meet you there. Anyways, long story short, I called my uncle the next day, Donnie Osmond. And as you've maybe read his book, Life is Just What You Make It, he talks about panic attacks. He's had so many amazing stories. He's helped so many people through it. I started describing what I was going through that week. He said, welcome to the club, buddy. He says, you want to come to my house and visit for a couple hours? It was a Sunday afternoon. I said, I would love that. And so I took him up on it. He gave me some really, really good advice. He walked me through a lot of what he'd been through. You can read it all in his book. But he says everybody needs a safe person. Everybody needs someone they can count on. He became mine. So he gave me a lot of important things to take in. He says, the worst thing you could do is fight it, because you're fighting against yourself. It's, depression is a real thing, and yet it's not a real thing because it's a lie. It's our mind attacking ourselves. It's our hormone levels. It's everything. And the worst thing you could do is try and fight it. He says, let it in, embrace it, say, I know who you are. I know what's going on here. It's not going to kill me. So take a look around and then leave, and I'll be just fine. So we become what we think about, and our thoughts are power. And he gave me so many great things to work with. And we've had some great conversations since, but I'm just so grateful that I have been blessed to have a safe person, safe people. My parents have always been there. I've always had a support system. And I know that not everybody has that. I actually ended up not even getting on the medication. Not that I'm ever against medication, because my wife, Sarah, has, every time we've had a child, she's had severe postpartum depression. That was verbatim what the doctor called it, severe. And she had suicidal thoughts. While we're having children, we took 5 years off from having kids before we had number 4 because of how severe it was. And I'm so grateful after the first, child was born, that she recognized that what she was feeling was not normal, was not healthy. And I mean, she wanted to just drop our son. She, with things that she knew was against any motherly instinct. And she told me what she was feeling. We went to the doctors. We got her help. We've done hormonal therapy and all sorts of different things. And yeah, it's been a battle. It's been hard. But my Aunt Marie, she's got a whole book about that as well. She totally understands it. She's got a lot of great resources in her book, Behind the Smile. We Osmonds are known for our smiles. We're real people. I have so much more empathy now, having gone through some of those episodes this year, because, I'm a motivational speaker. I've been on stage with Tony Robbins and Les Brown, all of the best, right? I'm Mr. Happiness. I'm Mr. Awesomeness, right? Not me. Guys, it can happen to any one of us. And so when and if it happens, it's important to recognize the signs of anxiety and depression. I got a son that was born on the autism spectrum. He struggles with it. He's even been as blunt as talking about ideas and thoughts about him doing himself in. And as a parent, you just, oh my gosh, what do we do? And knowing what to do and how to be there and how to, just provide the necessary needs, because I got a call 2 days ago from a dear friend of mine. 2 days ago, Kaz, and he was just in tears. He had just texted me that morning saying that he had just tried to kill himself. He had gone in the garage, he closed the door, he turned on the exhaust, and then I think he got scared, and he recognizes that he needs help. So I got on the phone with him, and I had sent him that song that I told you about over dinner that I got to record with Linda Davis. It's on my new album, and I sent it to him. I said, you need to hear this. He called me back. He says, that was the most inspired song. You nailed it. That's exactly what I heard. When you hear those demons call you in the midst of your despair, don't go there. And so I am so grateful. I told him that I have the opportunity to hear his voice. I'm so grateful that he's got a second chance on life. And we'd be surprised if we knew who has gone there and survived it. And I wish I could hear my cousin's voice again.
Thank you for being vulnerable.
We have to. What else is there? I mean, show business is so, if you could see what really goes on backstage, I'd rather just be me. People think I'm always on. It's just who I am. I'm not putting on a front right now. I don't want pity. I don't want sympathy. Oh, Nathan Osmond's having panic attacks. You know what? Sure. I've had a lot of other things I could tell you about. Health is wealth, and mental health is a real thing. I am so grateful that I've had a support system, because without it, we hear so many tragic stories. You and I sat there over dinner with John Gossett, the founder of Life's Worth Living Foundation, and to hear some of the tragic stories that we heard, I mean, I may not even be talking to the man I'm talking to right now. I watched your video, brother, on your YouTube channel, and everyone should watch your story. The fact that you have a second chance on life is a miracle. I mean, people that don't know your story need to go to Cause Green's YouTube channel, watch the first video that pops up, because everyone sees Cause as this great motivational speaker. He's got this great book behind him, I Am Enough. I mean, the guy's jumping out of airplanes. He's lost how many poundage, right? I mean, you're an inspiration. And then to hear that even a guy as positive as Cause Green could go through something like this. I mean, you were at the point of no return, and it was not your turn to go. One of my favorite books says that your years are known and are numbered, and your years are known and your days are known, and your years shall not be numbered less, is how it says. If it's not your turn to go, God will keep you here. You're living proof of that. No pun intended. You are living proof that there is more to the Cause story than was already written. And
I appreciate
the good that you do.
And that's why we're doing this together, because this isn't about me. And I've always said this, it's not about me, it's about thee. And God decided that I was not supposed to go that day. Then I knew I needed to devote my life to helping others, because I wake up every day and I say, there's one person. Yeah. If there's just one person I can help today, and I just never know who that one person is.
Yeah.
So
I've got one more for you. Ben Anderson, who I was on the phone with today, a former coworker of mine, just a couple months ago, his cousin jumped off a cliff, and she's still here. I mean, she has got such a battle ahead of her, but she's still here. I talked to John Gossett's foundation, and I talked about a story of a young man that jumped over the Brooklyn Bridge, broke almost every rib in his body. He was mangled. He was floating in the water. Luckily enough, there was a ferry that heard the moans and groans coming from the waters there in the Hudson River, and they alerted the captain, and the Coast Guard was able to pull him in and take him to the hospital, and he survived. Now you can go listen to his TED Talk talking about how grateful he is that he was unsuccessful in it. And that's the thing, is that Utah, where we live, it's been rampant. I mean, seriously, the youngest person, I hate to call it succeeding at taking their own life, was a 4-year-old. But they haven't even had a 3-year-old attempt. I mean, where would a 3-year-old come up with even the idea of taking his or her own life? We're living in some interesting times. Our children are being fed messages like crazy through social media. And I love social media. I love what you're doing with it. There are opposites in all things, but we have to be involved. We have to know what our children are watching, what they're into. The bullying, my children have been, victims of that. I had to take one of my sons to a completely different school last year till he got the self-confidence and the self-worth. He got in the right circles with the right kids and was able to find his own voice. He got involved in some plays, and then he's found his gift in writing rap lyrics. And now he says, you know what? I'm ready to go back and face those kids as me. He shot up overnight. He's almost as tall as me now, and he's only 13. And it's just such a blessing when we see our children find their self-worth. And not every child is told that they're loved. Not every child is even given the time of day. There are more broken homes out there. And then you add COVID-19 on top of everything else. I've been very fortunate, Cause, to have the parents that I have. But, I look at my cousin Michael, and he was blessed with a great mom. He went through some hard things, and we weren't going to get into. But the thing is that I am so grateful for this experience that I had the very last time that I saw him, because I've written songs about this. We were backstage at the Flamingo in Las Vegas, and Donnie and Marie were there for about 6 years or more. It's crazy. Won Best Show of the Year 3 years in a row. I got to even do the background vocals for that show, but it was so fun to go see it live and all the dancing, taking you through 50 years of show business. But I'm backstage waiting to say hello to my uncle and aunt at the meet and greet. I let all the Osmond fans go ahead because they're my uncle and aunt, and I'm just going to let them have their turn. So I'll wait patiently. But while I was waiting, my cousin Michael and a couple of my other cousins came out from backstage, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, how are you?" He'd been working out. He'd been doing that P90X. He was ripped. He just got accepted to the school of his choice, and I hardly recognized him. I was like, "Michael, you look amazing, dude." And we were just chatting it up, and then came time for him to leave. And so when he was taking off, I said, "Hey, love you, cuz." Now, fast forward, I'm in Texas, and I get the call. I knew exactly where I was when I got the call. He's like, it's seared in my memory when you hear about your cousin jumping off a balcony, off of a building. I even heard his 911 call on TMZ. Isn't that weird to hear your own cousin's 911 call? I mean, it's hard when you're in the public eye, because the very first thing that I received on Facebook when it became public was a message from some strange lady who said, "Your cousin's going straight to hell." And I thought to myself, wow, I didn't know God was my friend on Facebook. Delete. And it was just so insensitive, right? But as I got the news from my parents, that scene from the Flamingo in Las Vegas backstage came to my mind. And I remember the very last words that I ever said to my cousin. That was, "Hey, love you, cuz." I knew he knew that I loved him. There was a great poem I memorized back in the day that says, "Do not save your loving speeches for your friends till they are dead. Do not write them on their tombstones. Speak them rather now instead." And so I tried to make that my mantra, my songwriting. If you love someone, tell them, express it, show it to them. I was born on Valentine's Day, cause I'm all about love. But sometimes, Monday doesn't come like my Aunt Marie said. She missed a call from him when she was there performing at the Flamingo. And I think he talked to his sister. But he wrote a letter, and I didn't realize the bullying that he was going through, the demons that he fought. I didn't know any of that. And Monday didn't come for Michael. But I decided I wanted to do a song on this album because I love our men and women in uniform. I do a lot for our troops. Back here, you see this plaque. I'm an honorary command sergeant major. So I love working with the Gold Star, the Blue Star families. I've stood at the feet of gravesites with Gold Star families, and we're raising funds to build the largest memorial in honor of our men and women in uniform from the Gulf War up to the present in the heartland of America, including PTSD, because we're losing on average 22 veterans a day to suicide. That's tragic. More people are dying from suicide than combat. What's going on? You see what I'm saying? Mental health is so important. And I'm so grateful that we're talking about it tonight, Cause, because I know there are people watching right now that are dealing with some type of mental illness. There are people that are watching right now looking for hope, people that have maybe just lost a job. There are people right now that are dealing with COVID. Maybe they've lost a loved one. Maybe they're being bullied on social media. Maybe they're not told that they're worth something. So looking, and I just wrote a song the other day for a TV show. And the words say, "There is hope, there is power. When the world comes together, there are miracles surrounding you and me. There'll be peace, there'll be laughter. It's what everybody's after. So let's all join in as a team will win. Now's the time. Together, let's bring hope." And that's the name of the song. But if you don't have hope, you cannot have faith. So let's start with hope.
Amen, brother.
We're doing this event coming up.
I want to go in a couple different ways or a couple different directions. Let's first listen to the song that you talked about at the top of the show.
She was beautiful, so picturesque, surrounded by family love she couldn't see those things. An angel meant to fly went and clipped her wings. Don't go there. No, not that far. God will come and bring you home right where you are. Just reach out. You're not alone. There's nothing that you've done that you can't come back home. When you hear those demons call you in the midst of your despair, oh, don't go there.
He was a soldier, a decorated vet, who couldn't get past the wounds of war and his regrets. He left us here way before his time, and a child left to wonder why Daddy crossed that line. Don't go there. No, not that far. God will come and bring you home right where you are. Just reach out. You're not alone. There's nothing that you've done that you can't come back home. When you hear those demons call you from the midst of your despair, oh, don't go there. Together 50 years, now she's gone.
He's lost his love,
His will to live and carry on. But someone up above was listening when he prayed. At the point of no return, he heard a sweet voice say, don't go there.
Wow, doesn't she sound awesome? That's Linda Davis.
Yeah, I think both of you sound awesome. So I always have a hard time sometimes hearing all the lyrics. So give us the chorus. Speak through
Don't
the.
go there. No, not that far. God will come and bring you home right where you are. Just reach out. You're not alone. There's nothing that you've done that you can't come back home. When you hear those demons call you from the midst of your despair, don't go there. And, it's such a powerful song. We actually wrote it shortly after Mindy McCready, from country music, took her own life. And how tragic that was, just to hear of someone that would, she was beautiful, so picturesque, surrounded by a family love and happiness, but blinded, she couldn't see those things. An angel meant to fly went and clipped her wings. And then I brought up, earlier, the soldiers. So being that this is for the veterans and those that have been wounded in action, I said, he was a soldier, a decorated vet who couldn't get past his wounds of war and his regrets. He left us here way before his time, and a child left to wonder why Daddy crossed that line. And then, of course, the last part of the song, we thought, let's address the seniors because we're losing a lot of seniors. Imagine, together 50 years now, she's gone. He's lost his love, his will to live and carry on. But someone up above was listening when he prayed. At the point of no return, he heard a sweet voice say, don't go there. I was doing this podcast of mine called Achieving Awesomeness Now, and I got to feature John Gossett on there, and we just talked about Life's Worth Living Foundation and about all these topics. And this DJ from England heard it, and he says, Nathan, would you please send me that song? The song's not even released yet. And I just wanted to give a flavor because I felt some people need to hear this. And he says, there's a girl in England that needs to hear this song right now. So I sent it to him, and I got a message back from him about 3 days later. He says, you just saved a life. I said, what do you mean? He says, remember that song you sent me? I played it for that young gal who was at the point of no return. She listened to your song, and she decided to stick around. And I said, thank you for telling me that. I called Michael Curtis, who wrote it with Linda, and I just said, you just saved a life, buddy. He says, that's why we recorded it. If we could just stop one person from going there, it was worth recording. So I sent it to my friend the other day who was just in tears, and it too helped him to see the light that he's still here for a reason, and he's so grateful. He's getting the help that he needed. I gave him some resources. Heck, the old Osmond Studios has been turned into a rehab center. Did you know that? Cirque Lodge.
I did not know that.
Incredible. So we're putting people there. You know, we're not, our friends, the Losi's bought it and created the thing, but I gave him the phone number. I said, call him. You know, he was trying to find resources, and he did. And, you know, it's just so amazing to hear the hope come back into his heart and his life. I just think that we just need to recognize the signs from those that are going through it. And sometimes they mask it so well. But if they can at least hear this podcast and can know where they can go, if they'll tune in on the 10th and watch this great fundraiser that we're having for the Life's Worth Living Foundation, you're going to hear from so many incredible people. We got Ty Herndon from Country Music, who's going to be on there. We have all sorts of people that are going to be on there. We've got Tim Gates is going to be there, the lead singer of Due West, my buddy Charlie Jenkins, Paul Cardall. You want to hear a story? You know that the heart transplant that he received was from someone that took their own life. He received that person's heart, and he's going to talk about it. You want to hear a tearjerker of a story? Tune in and listen to Paul Cardall, who's got an incredible presentation he's going to share on this. My buddy Chad Hymas, I had him on my podcast. Talk about how a man that has every reason in the book to complain became a quadriplegic when he was on his elk farm, and all of a sudden this thousands of pounds of hay breaks loose and crushes him. I mean, it broke all of his teeth and about choked him to death because the thing from his steering wheel went in his mouth. He was almost unconscious and wasn't yet unconscious until he got in the helicopter. But he became a quadriplegic like that. He has been in dark places. Sometimes we think, nobody knows the trouble I've seen. Nobody knows my sorrow. But yes, there is. There are people that have been through even worse and have come out on top. Now he spends his life dedicated to motivating, inspiring, and bringing people to their feet if they can stand. And I tell you, one day this man will walk again. I'm convinced of it. But he is inspiring people to find the joy within. He's going to be on there. We have a whole slew of great people. Look at Gabe Adams. I met him at John Gossett's event. He's going to be there. This guy was born with no arms and no legs, and now he's out there inspiring people. You think he may have had a suicidal thought before? Oh, yes. That's why he was there talking to people who could understand so well. And if you want a night of inspiration, a night of hope, that's why we called it that, you got to tune in coming up on the 10th. Is that 7 p.m.? Is that the time?
7 p.m. Mountain
Standard Time. Set your calendars, your clocks, and whatever you got, Google Calendar, but put it on your calendar, and we want to see you there.
It's on the schedule, and Siri will remind you, right?
Cause will remind you. He's talk about a good cause. You're looking at him right there.
That's right. Hey, let's take a couple comments here. A little blast from the past. I don't know if I'm going to open a can of worms, but this one just made me smile. So it looks like we have a mutual.
Oh my goodness!
Mutual connection here, Mr. Jesse
Christensen. How are you? What a handsome guy he is. Look at that.
But he's a man I've always admired. He's doing things right.
Oh, thank you, Jesse. It's so good to hear from you, brother. We're all just trying to do things right. We're trying to figure out what's right?
That's right. You know, when Jesse's comment popped up, it reminded me of a situation I was in with him last year. And you were talking how about it's just so tumultuous and you're just in it and you don't think there's any way out.
Yeah.
Well, Jesse's been a cycling and scuba diving buddy And we have the opportunity to scuba dive off the coast of Lanai every year. We didn't this year. Our boys' trip got cut because of Aunt Rona.
Oh gosh.
I hate Aunt Rona because of so many things she's destroyed in my life. But last year, Jesse's a much more experienced scuba diver than I am.
I need to get certified. I've only been one time in Hawaii, and I need to go again.
I'm certifiable and also certified in scuba diving. But anyway, Jesse and I are out, and we're in this area called the washing machine. And if you can imagine, it's everything that word just creates in your mind being in the surf in a washing machine. And what's interesting is, you obviously don't communicate when you're scuba diving. You just have to, do hand signals. So Jesse's saying, get down, get down, get down, meaning stay right along the bottom of the rocks. Because as you look up, there was just this surf just swirling right above our heads for about 20, 30 feet. And if you get in that surf, it's going to take you and it's going to slam you into the rocks. And I think many times in my life, that has been just a metaphor for my own life. And it's like that, right? You just know that it's right there if you go into that chaos. And so I want the people that are listening and watching tonight, or listening on the rebroadcast or the podcast on the Cos Green audio experience, that those storms are real. And I know what it's like to be in an emotional storm and a physical storm that literally, if you screw up, I remember our buddy Jason Orvis looked at me the first time he took me down into some pretty gnarly stuff, and he was serious. He just nose to nose looked at me and he said, "Do you trust me?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "With your life?" And then we went and did some things that I never thought a new diver would do. And so he taught me how to overcome those fears. So I just want people that are listening and watching to know we've been there. Yeah. We're still in the storm. Mm-hmm. And whatever you're going through, you are not alone. And just like in the washing machine, I had to have a dive buddy that I just love with all my heart. We need to reach out and find that buddy that you can talk to in your life too when you're facing the storm. And I'm so grateful that, wow, for you it was Uncle Donnie. Let's go back to the intro a little bit. And I said it's tough growing up in the shadow of legendary greats. What was it like to grow up as an Osmond in that shadow?
I made my first television debut when I was less than a year old, sitting on my mother's lap on the Donnie Marie show with a big binky in my mouth. That was my first television debut. But I just thought everybody owned a television studio. We didn't know any better that, we got to hang out with all of our TV heroes, and I was wrapping Christmas presents with Laverne and Shirley, and we had Andy Gibb over here, Lucille Ball over there. And, ice skaters everywhere. You just don't know any different because you're growing up. I remember going on the tours with Donnie and Marie and the brothers and getting to be on the tour buses. And I remember when Donnie took me to see Return of the Jedi in the theater, we got to hang out with him as his buddies, as his nephews, Those were good times. And that's where I think I got the bug to want to travel and do it myself with my brothers. We signed record deals when we were just teenagers and used to tour with New Kids on the Block and all the big bands from the 90s. And then I broke off and started doing my country stuff. I took 2 years out of my life. I went and served a mission for our church, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, down in Santiago, Chile. And, that was quite an experience to kind of be away from most people that recognize the name Osmond. A few people did, but I got to find my own identity during those 2 years and got to serve people. And I saw people that really had nothing. And to get to live in their homes and get to serve them daily. It was really life-changing. But the day I get back off of that, the plane, my Uncle Donnie was wrapping up his Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor the Dreamcoat tour, and my brother David was his understudy. Well, guess what? The touring company was in town to see him. Well, he says, "I got all these brothers that sing with me. Do you mind if they audition?" So the very next day after I get home from Chile, I'm in the North American tour auditions for Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor the Dreamcoat. and we got the parts. I played Zebulon for 2 years. And then right after that, I got cast in the North American tour of You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown, the national tour. And I was determined to become the very best Charlie Brown ever. So I went and bought the yellow shirt, the black zigzag. I bought all the comics I could find. I went down to Hallmark. I found this Charlie Brown cutout. I put it in my room, and I looked at this kid. I took acting classes, and one of the songs that's in this particular musical, I was working on this scene called "The Doctor Is In." When Charlie Brown is told by Lucy, "Charlie Brown, you just need to come out and talk about everything that's wrong with you." So the song says, "I'm not very handsome or clever or lucid. I've always been stupid at spelling and numbers. I've never been much playing football or baseball or stickball or checkers or marbles or ping pong. I'm usually awful at parties and dances. I stand like a stick, or I cough, or I laugh, or I don't bring a present, or I spill the ice cream, or I get so depressed that I stand and I scream, oh, how could there possibly be one small person as thoroughly, totally, utterly blah as me?" And those casting directors were right on. I'd just gotten off this tour. I'd made all the money in the world. I was going to school, dating the girl who would later become my wife. And I carried with me that cloud. You know, that same cloud that made me want to pass out or feel like it? This heaviness, it didn't make any sense. I didn't have Uncle Donnie around at the time. And so I was trying to figure things out. I went up and I sat by the Provo Temple, the place where my parents got married. So one of these safe places I go to just to pray and meditate and think. I was sitting in my little Pontiac trying to figure out, why am I feeling this depression? It doesn't make any sense. And I swear, cause, we've pointed up a few times during this interview. It was as if a voice as clear as day from my passenger seat says to me, "Why don't you love yourself the way that I love you?" And I looked as if someone had just said that to me. And I knew in that moment that I had literally become Charlie Brown. I realized who was talking to me, and I realized that I had literally become the character that I had been trying so hard to become. I walked around with paper bags on my head. I kept saying, "Good grief." I kept just trying to get into character, and I realized that I had become my worst enemy. I had literally become this depressed little boy who has no self-confidence. Oh, how could there possibly be one small person as thoroughly, totally, utterly blah as me? I sang those words daily. Was there any question why I was failing math? Is there any question I carried the weight like the other Charlie Brown with the dust that he just carries around with him? That's what was going on mentally with myself. And when I realized what I was doing, I went and I bought me a milkshake. I went and did something nice for myself. I stopped beating myself up. I started thinking of some of these other actors, you hear about Angelina Jolie talks about how she just gets deep in these characters and it's hard to get out. What do you think killed Heath Ledger? It was the Joker. He couldn't get out of that. And it literally killed him. We have to be careful what we tell ourselves because we might believe it. So be good to you. I just loved sharing that Charlie Brown story with people. Fatima Doman just featured me in her new book coming out here this coming year. I had her on my podcast and I told that story. She's like, "Would you put that in my book?" So that's going to be in her new book. I just want to help someone out there tonight that might be a Charlie Brown, who might be lying to yourself saying there's no other person as totally, utterly blah as you. You know what? I know who spoke to me in that car. And it was as if it was audible because I could hear it and it pierced my heart. It healed my heart when I was told, "Why don't you love yourself the way that I do?" And there was this overwhelming burning in the bosom, this overwhelming showering of unexplainable love, that if he can love us, why can't we love ourselves? And by the way, just like Kaz's story, if it's not your time, you're going to stick around. I love history, Kaz, and I have been able this last year, I did 277 live events in 201 cities around the United States and Canada. And everywhere I went to all these great battlefields and museums and Washington, D.C. monuments. And I just love history. You know, a good friend of mine, his name is Andy Andrews. He wrote a book called The Traveler's Gift.
Love it. One of my favorites.
Talk about a man that wanted to do himself in, right? David Ponder. Go read that book, guys. And then go make sure you read Kaz's new book that's coming out, because you're going to just be in tears. It's so good. But Andy told me a story about Joshua Lawrence Chamberlain and the men of the 20th Maine, right? I just love that story. And just in a nutshell, here's a man that was a professor of rhetoric who was given the orders at all hazards: you do not let the enemy come across the line. You do not let the South, because if they get over this wall, they'll take the high ground and they'll wipe us out at Gettysburg. And they will have come through you, Joshua Lawrence Chamberlain. Do you understand those orders? Yes, sir. So he's at the far left edge of this long line that goes down into this town called Gettysburg. And sure enough, after 3 or 4 charges, they're over the wall. Now they're out of bullets. They're down to 80 men. And he says, do we sound the retreat? Sergeant Tozer, do we sound the retreat? No. His own brother comes up to him and says, hey, do we sound the retreat? No, go find your brother Tom. With 3 of us here, this could be a bad day for Mama. I mean, they got 3 brothers fighting there. And all of a sudden, this 12-year-old kid gets up in this tree and says, they're coming back up. They're coming back up. You heard that rebel yell. He says, fix bayonets. So they fix the bayonets, and you can just hear that steel on steel. He says, exercise a great right wheel. What's that? He says, the colonel intends to charge. And before they could do anything, he pulled that sword out. He says, charge! Charge! And he jumped over that wall and into history. And 80 men with no bullets held over 400 of the South at gunpoint. And years later, this is the part I wanted to get to. Years later, that man, Joshua Lawrence Chamberlain, became the governor of Maine. And one day, a random letter shows up on his desk. And I have that letter right here that I want to read to you.
Wow.
And it says, Dear Sir, I want to tell you of a little passage in the Battle of Round Top Gettysburg concerning you and me, which I am now glad of. Twice in that fight, I had your life in my hands. I got a safe place between 2 rocks and drew bead fair and square on you. You were standing in the open behind the center of your line, full exposed. I thought it, and it says, I knew your rank by your uniform and actions, and I thought it a mighty good thing to put you out of the way. I rested my gun on the rock and took steady aim. I started to pull the trigger, but some strange notion stopped me. Then I got ashamed of my weakness, and I went through the same emotions again. I had you perfectly certain, but that same strange something shut right down on me. I couldn't pull the trigger and gave it up. That is your life. I am glad of it now and hope you are. Yours truly, a member of the 15th Alabama. If it's not your time to go, you're here.
But
so don't worry about the future. Yeah. My kids sometimes worry about everything that's going on. They see all the hatred in the streets and the cities burning and the statues being tumbled to the ground. And they're thinking, what's it all for? I mean, why don't we even go to school? They're not even going to school. You know, they hear about, is it the second coming? Is it what's going to happen? Is it the rapture? Whatever, and it's nerve-wracking for young people and old kids alike. And I always just tell my kids, I said, you know what? It's the great and dreadful day of the Lord. Great for those who are prepared spiritually. I'm in a bishopric. I got to motivate my youth. But you know what I said to them? Whether we live to see Jesus return or not, guess what? Whether he comes to us or we go to him, there'll be a meeting. So why don't you just live your life the way he wants you to? Life's worth living, cause we know that. You were given a second chance. We believe in a God of second chances. If you're listening to this podcast tonight, like my friend Andy Andrews says, this is the Gipper speech. You're in the locker room right now. And we got a second half out there that we got to get out there and win. So that is your life. Look at it as the second half. And tonight is your Gipper speech. Right here at Cause Green. And your buddy taking on.
Hey, as we wrap up, I want to tell people you've brought up so many different things, but the Chamberlain story in Andy Andrews' book, The Traveler's Gift, is
One of
and
my
nothing
favorites.
like hearing Andy Andrews tell it with his southern twang.
Oh, you
I
know
love
what? I
Book,
called
The
him.
Traveler's Gift. Get
I
it?
called him from the wall. I was there on the top of Little Round Top, and I called Andy Andrews to thank him for telling me that story. It was 6:30 in the morning, but I had to share where I was with him. And I knelt on that ground where the men of the 20th Maine, so many of them gave their lives, and so many of other, on both sides. And what was it all for? I see so many things happening that remind me of the two parties fighting against each other. We need to come together and be one. I just wrote a song with my friend Camila Morrison. I just heard the mix, the rough mix. I'm going to have it next time I come on your show, but it's called All In. And that's what we got to be. It's sick of all this madness. Every day it's the same old news. It's time for massive action, not mass distractions. It's time we face the truth. It says, open up your eyes to see what's really going on. When they try to divide us, it will only unite us. Let this be our song. Come and sing it all in. We can't make it till we're all in. It takes everybody. Hear the message. Throw your fears away. Come on, come on, everybody sing it all in. This is come on, everybody fall in one by one. A new tomorrow starts with us today. And the bridge talks about, the fate of future generations counts on what we do. Let's give them a bright tomorrow. It's up to me and you. I'm going to play that song for you, buddy. I hope you love that. But I just want to let everybody out there who tuned in for whatever reason tonight, maybe we covered something that you expected. Maybe we didn't. Maybe we took it in a completely different route. But there's no accidents in life. I'm just so grateful for so many of you, and want to express that if nobody's told you that you're loved, listen to Kaz and Nathan Osmond tonight. You're loved. And if he can love you, it's time that you start loving yourself.
Absolutely. Imagine if we treated anyone else in our life the way we treat ourselves. It would be considered abuse. We've got to start liking and accepting and loving ourselves. And I'm here tonight to remind each one of us, you are enough. You are here for a special reason. Find that reason and dig deep within yourself to discover the courage that will let your light shine in such a way that you'll be able to hold the light and help those who are wandering aimlessly through the dark who need to be guided by it. And it's scary. But courage is not the absence of fear. It's acting in spite of the fear. So find courage. Surround yourself with good people who love you. We love you. We may not know you personally, but I know that you are a child of God and you are loved and you're worth it. So stay your course.
That says it all right there.
One last reminder. Coming up next Thursday, December 10th, 7 p.m. Mountain Time, a night of hope to benefit Life's Worth Living Foundation. It's a virtual gala. We've got a lot on the agenda for you. Nathan Osmond, John Absey, and Casey Scott will be your hosts. Musical artists Ty Herndon, Charlie Jenkins, Tim Gates, and Paul Cardall. And you'll hear inspirational remarks by Chad Hymas, Janelle Lynn Condi, Gaina Lynn Condi, Michelle Anhang, Gabe Adams, and Seth Adam Smith. It's going to be a night you won't want to miss, and you'll find it right here live. It'll be on my page, but you'll watch that by going to the Life's Worth Living Foundation page. And don't just enjoy it. Also, we will invite you to donate and make a difference, because that's a great organization doing great things.
It is. And they've talked about people, but organizations that have been affected by COVID, they can't hold their fundraising galas because of COVID-19. But we have found a way, thanks to Kaz Green. He says, why don't we do it virtually? Let's do a virtual gala. Let's do it. And so we just love your energy and all that you do to help bring great causes to life. You got the best name. You are a great cause.
COZ. Yeah, I got to live up to that standard. Yeah, this will be the 4th virtual I've done in the last 5 or 6 weeks, making a difference.
Wow.
We can do this. Don't let COVID get in the way. We're going to find a way to make a difference.
That's right.
Nathan Osmond, God bless you, brother. Thank you so much for being here tonight. And I'm not afraid to say it. And maybe it's not the manly thing to do, but I love you, my friend.
I love you too, brother. You're a great man. And we love all who are listening. Thank you for their time tonight. Thank you for tuning in. And if you're going through hard stuff, please write to us. Please let us know. Please let somebody know. Just don't go there. Just reach out. You're not alone. And we just want to let you know that you are loved.
Good night, everybody.
Subscribe to Cause TV and listen to the Cause Green audio experience on iTunes and Spotify.